What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video we're going to be discussing 10 leaked cards that are coming to the game much sooner than you think. Today I am joined by my good friend, the host of the Cube Rush event, Luke Muncher. Say hi, Luke.
Hey, how's it going?
So, as I said, yeah, we're going to be discussing 10 different cards. Let's jump straight into it. So, the first card we have here is SAURON. Now, SAURON is actually in the game at the moment. He is in the client. If you go to the unowned cards, you will see him there with his pink background. He's a 3 energy, 3 power card, and he reads, on reveal, remove the abilities from all ongoing cards in your hand and deck. Luke, what are your thoughts on this card?
So I like this card. Now we've talked a little bit about this card beforehand, and I definitely was higher on the card before I kind of searched the cards that are going around. Really, you know, the biggest plays that you're going to get with that is basically another card you can combo in the zeros deck.
100%, yeah.
With cutting off Typhoid Marys and Red Skull's ability. So I think that's really cool. There doesn't seem to be a lot more currently that we see coming or currently in game, but still a very interesting card, and another card that if you are doing zero decks, give you another option to turn those cards effect off and play those big beefy guys. Yeah,
100%. Definitely opens up those zero decks to more opportunities, because usually with your zero you can just get the zero effect on like your Red Skull or your Typhoid Mary, whereas this just hits everything all at once. So definitely a perfect card to slot into that deck. Moving on to the next card, we have Silver Surfer, which is actually going to be the card of the next season. We do know this from the leaks from the website where we're grabbing all of this stuff, Snap.fan. If you guys don't know, definitely check that place out. They have great content. They have all of the up and coming cards. What are your thoughts on this card, Lou? I'm really excited about this card. I don't know about yourself.
Yes, I am too. I think it's a very unique effect. With focusing on a specific cost of cards, of giving them a huge power boost. Because even if you just think about a normal 3-cost card is going to have, 3, 4, 5 power. So giving it another 3 power on top of that, I'll be very interested. I'm assuming the top end of a deck like that will probably look like Sarah or something, just so then you can play a lot of the 3-cost cards all together. But yeah, definitely going to be interesting. Definitely excited about Silver Surfer, because that's a herald of a certain card, so maybe we'll see another card soon too.
Maybe,
who knows?
Maybe the G-Man will come soon. We don't know. We don't know. But yeah, me personally as well, yeah, I'm super excited about this card, because like you said, I think this card will slot perfectly into like a sort of Sarah deck. Recently I've been kind of running around with the idea of playing like a Sarah deck where you do your kind of your usual stuff, like you can have like your Mystique and Sarah combo, or your Magic Sarah Onslaught type of thing. And there's a lot of 3-cost cards that have like, like Maximus, that are like already 7 power, or even like Black Cat or something like that. So the potential with those kind of powerful cards, you just play them at the end of the game and you already have a Silver Surfer on board. Like, yeah, with Sarah down on board, like, you probably win nearly every time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of different ways you could go with it, and a lot of good 3 drops. And it's going to be one of those cards, like, I like just the design of the card, because even let's say it comes out and it isn't a hit, well, every single time another 3-cost card comes out, you can revisit it, see, does that make it better? Does that make it,
does that improve it? Yeah,
running? So yeah
100%.
So yeah, so ZABU is going to be the January card, so season pass card. So I was very excited about this one. One that recently got changed in a recent patch for its new effect. With its ongoing, your 4-cost cards cost 2 less, to a minimum of 1. So just like Sarah, can't lower it down to 0 cost. But very excited about this one. There are some of the most powerful cards in the game at 4 cost. So being able to just very simple combo of play it on 3, play 2 4-drops on turn 4 is just going to be a huge burst of power.
Yeah, I think the potential of this card is crazy. Like you said, all of those powerful 4-cost cards, like you've got your Enchantresses, you've got your Shang-Chi's, like those tech cards, like you can run them in your deck and you can play them for cheap. Because usually you're like, oh, I have to play a Shang-Chi or an Enchantress, and that's my whole turn, you know what I mean? Because 4 is a lot in Snap. But if you get that down to 2, man, it's It's super exciting. I think there's going to be a lot of people messing around with ZABU when he comes out. And he's not too far away, like you said, January. So definitely on the horizon.
All right, so the next card is KNULL. So KNULL is a card that that was recently been data mined, and it is a 6 power or 6 cost 0 power card that has the combined power of all cards destroyed this game. Now this is going to be a really fun card to brew around. There is so many different ways. So destroyed decks are already very strong. Death Wave is very strong right now. But even just having a focus around this card, like you don't even have to, you could just throw it in decks now. Just anything, like, because if you just think Venom, there have been a lot of stuff, crazy stuff, but just a Venom on 10, 11 power of cards to free up, it's already 10 or 11. And then obviously there's more broken combos you can do. We saw just a couple weeks ago with Bar Sinister, with the whole Hulk Buster, Venom, crazy thing, like
craziness.
Can't even imagine. Yeah. And then you put in cards like Armazola, because so if you're going like Electro into Armazola, into KNULL, whatever you destroyed, and you got 2 copies. A thing that I've actually theory crafted a little bit with Mr. Metal, and I was wondering what you think of how the ability would work.
Mm-hmm.
If you Zola KNULL,
mm-hmm.
and let's say KNULL was already at 20,
okay,
you get 2 40s?
In my opinion, it should work, yeah, because it says has the combined power of all cards destroyed this game. So if you read it the way, and like that's kind of how other cards work. So like, when you're playing like on your like cloning vats or whatever, it keeps your buff or your enchantment, you know what I mean? So in my opinion, yeah, I assume that's how it would work, and that's awesome potential. Something I had in my opinion was obviously today we just got Black Panther with the new season. Like if you slot KNULL somehow, like if you cheat out if you like play like a Black Panther and an Arnhem or something like that, if you happen to theory craft some crazy deck where you do a specific combo where you get Black Panther really big, or even just destroy him with like a Carnage or something, and then play a KNULL, like this. The potential of this card is crazy. Like you said, there's so many different ways to destroy cards and destroy big cards, you know what I mean? So I'm super excited for this one. All right, moving on to the next card, we have She-Hulk. She was actually supposed to be the Nexus event card, I believe, for when the She-Hulk show came out over the summer. And yeah, so she is a 6 energy 10 power card, and she reads cost 1 less for each unspent energy last turn. So very similar to Sunspot's effect. You could definitely think, oh, I'll just throw her into a deck with Sunspot and Infinite, done deal, there you go. But I think this card's super interesting, because if you think about it, you're always like in Snap is the type of game where I don't always feel bad having that unspent energy, mainly because you have your Sunspot and stuff like that. So not playing on curve the whole time happens quite a lot in Snap, I feel. And slotting this card into a deck like that, even if you go 2 turns where you have 1 unspent energy, she's a 4/10. Like that's Typhoid Mary stats right there, you know what I mean? So me personally, super excited. I love me some Sunspot, I love me some Infinite, so she's going straight into a deck with those 2 for me.
And absolutely, and this is a card that has been theory cracked for a long time, because we were expecting her to come out, and we got the Daredevil season, but we knew that she was supposed to be the Nexus event card for that season. But yeah, she is very unique, very powerful, and I think this game, what you're talking about, the unspent mana, you don't really feel too bad about it. I think that's what's a very unique thing with this card game, because if you think of Hearthstone, other card games, you want to be curving out, you want to be playing 2 drops into 3 drops and 4 drops, but this game's a lot more flexible, and you want to change your game plan depending on what your opponent plays every single turn.
100%.
So I think just being able to be flexible with that, and then obviously the thing that people's been thinking about with it forever is the interaction with Wave.
Oh yes, big time.
So Wave is one of my favorite cards, so I'm very excited to see with that, just because of getting that discount with her, turning her into 4, and then any unspent mana that turn, you can make her free or very cheap very fast. So
yeah,
very excited about She-Hulk when she finally arrives.
Expect a She-Hulk Wave deck, as we have Death Wave right now. Expect a She-Hulk Wave, because it's a very similar effect for sure.
Absolutely.
Moving on to the next card, guys, we've got Absorbing Man, which is a card I'm super excited for. His stats are 4 energy, 3 power, and his description is on reveal. If the last card you played has an on reveal ability, this card copies it. So very much like a Mystique, but for on reveal abilities. Personally, I'm super excited for this card. Wong is my favorite card in Marvel Snap, so if I can have an opportunity to kind of have a second Wong in my deck, I'm gonna put him in here. The potential he has is absolutely crazy. Personally, I think he could slot, again, he could slot perfectly into these Black Panther decks we're seeing right now at the start of the new season. Definitely slot him straight in there. Just copying on reveal effects is super good. But the unique thing about this is, obviously, with Wong, everyone wants to counter him with Enchantress. Yeah, you've got your Cosmo, but the majority of people play Enchantress to counter the vastness of the ongoing effects in the game. But since Absorbing Man is on reveal, he can copy that and he's not affected by Enchantress. What are your thoughts about the card, Luke?
Yeah, I think that's what gives it really unique, because if you think about the on-reveal enablers that we have right now, is Wong and Odin. And those both count on you playing the on-reveal card into Wong's lane or playing Odin on top of whatever lane that is. This gives you the option that they can be completely different lanes.
Exactly.
You
Spread
don't
it out.
need to play. Yeah, you don't need to play this guy in the same lane of the ability you're copying. And I'm personally super excited for just shutting down my opponent with Wave into Odin, into Absorbing Man, copying the Odin.
Full lockdown Wave deck. I'm here for it, man.
Yes.
Oh my god.
3-4 turns of Wave. It's going to be very fun for me. Maybe not my opponent.
Yeah, 100%.
The next card we have is DARKHAWK. So it's a 1/3. And has the ability, you can only play this at locations where you already have a card. So this is a very interesting card. It falls in the same line of the other 1/3s that we've kind of seen, like Zero and Blade and stuff. But I definitely think this is probably one of the weaker 1/3s that we've seen out of the ones that I've just said, because Blade, you're playing Blade for a reason. You're discarding cards for a reason. Want to bring it back with Hello, you're trying to discard Swarm or Apocalypse, something like that. With Zero, you're playing it to get its effect to shut off something else. This is just a 1/3 that's probably going to die to Killmonger. It doesn't really enable anything else in any other decks. So one that, I mean, if a change comes down and this card's changed, I wouldn't be too sad about it. But yeah, be still interested to see it. I'll definitely, any new card that comes out, I definitely want to play with it.
Yeah, for sure. Like, in my opinion as well, like, I think maybe stats could be changed to maybe buff this card a little bit, maybe like a 2/4 or something like that. It's quite a kind of like restrictive thing. We were talking about this the other day, where it's like with DARKHAWK, you have to play him in a lane where you already have a card. So with like Blade or something else, like Zero, you know what I mean? You want to say, oh, I'll get that kind of extra power on the other lanes. So you're just committing more power to something you already control. So I guess that's the downside, and that's why it's more power. Similar to why sometimes you could be like, oh, maybe Zero is a downside, or maybe discarding a card is a downside, but the majority of the time you're doing it for a reason. You know what I mean? So maybe DARKHAWK fits into some specific type of deck that we haven't even thought about at the moment, which could be very, very possible. But for the moment, looking at him now, yeah, I'm here to try him out. I'll try and make him work, but he doesn't get me super excited at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, take some of this stuff with a grain of salt. Cards can be changed and stuff, and we don't have the full picture. Maybe 10 cards that we don't know, that unreleased cards, make DARKHAWK crazy.
Yeah, literally.
We'll see.
Moving on to the next card, we have Titania, a card I'm super excited about. She is a 1 energy 5 power card, and she reads, when any card is played at this location, this card switches sides. So there's a lot of things you could do with this card, honestly. I mean, if you want to really just kind of have it like a finisher, like a big finisher, I suppose, that are in a lot of decks, that's a 1-cost card at the moment, is like your demons. We're seeing a lot of destruction decks, people saving that demon for the last turn, trying to avoid the Killmonger. Again, this is a 1 energy card. Killmonger is a card in the game. Everyone's seeing it in every single deck. So yeah, I mean, playing it on turn 6 is awesome, because it means if it's the last card you play, and I suppose, would you have to have priority loot? Or no, you wouldn't want priority, correct? Because if they play a card, I'm actually interested to know how that works. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure how that would work. Yeah, if you're playing it and you have priority and it flips first, and then their card flips, would it... Like, that would be interesting to see, because it says when the card is played at the location. So is that like after it flips? Like, does it count cards that haven't flipped yet? Yeah, that would be very interesting to see how that would work.
For sure. And that's actually something that we've seen with like Dagger and Wolfsbane, as in, I don't know if that counts as them being played, but yeah, that's a change we have seen. So that's something really interesting. Another side note is, I mean, straight away, this is a good card you can fit in with zero. You could just zero this card and just have a 1/5. Seems pretty good. But again, Killmonger's in the game, so can't silence Killmonger, unfortunately. But yeah, go ahead.
So I think this is a very cool card, and you know, we were talking the other day. I think some cool combos with it is just like location based. So flooding, or what's that one that shuts down? You can't play anything after turn 4.
Kiln, yeah.
Yeah, kiln, yeah. So playing it on turn 4 into flooding where you can't play stuff next turn, that's a good way to kind of guarantee that she's not going to flip sides. If you Spider-Man on turn 5 into a losing lane, then you can play her on turn 6 and they can't play something to make her swap sides.
Exactly.
So there's definitely combos and definitely play and wiggle room. I know that a few people I've talked to about this card are not big on her. Thinks that swapping sides is a real downside, but 1/5 is a huge stat line. That's a huge stat line. Like to see that, to get the 1/16, and you have to play a 1-2.
Yeah.
So for this just to be the 1/5, so I think there's definitely could be a home for this card, and I'm very interested to play with this one too. All right, so the next card is Luke Cage. He costs 2, has 1 power, and his ongoing is your cards cannot have their power reduced. So this is obviously a lot of people's been theory crafting with this card also. So obviously, you know, people's first mind was probably going to the Wong Hazmat deck, where then it turns one-sided. And so I think that is definitely going to be worth exploring. I think a lot of people are going to be testing that out once Luke Cage comes out. Another good thing that I've just been thinking about is just the way it shuts down some of those annoying locations that you see. The sewer system, or the
Jotunheim's negative zone. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so just having Luke Cage out there so you can't have your power reduced. Now, I'm very interested. So it just said your cards can't have their power reduced. I mean, obviously that would work on cards on the field. Does that stop Scorpion?
That's an interesting thought. An interesting thought. I would imagine it means on field. I think in Snap, they're actually, when they want to specify something, they're quite good at saying it. If it's, you know, in your hand or your deck, they usually have those brackets there. But that would be really cool if it was a stop the Scorpion. But yeah, like you said, I totally agree. I think this card definitely has a home in that kind of Wong Hazmat deck, because there's just no downside for you at all when you play that combo. Then all of your cards are just not affected at all. But yeah, I definitely still run this card in kind of your, I guess, like your Spectrum ongoing deck. He's just a powerful ongoing card, and with all of these random locations, like you said, he's just super good to have in the deck.
And it's a little bit different than you were talking about the Spectrum ongoing deck. It's a little different, but Quinjet does nothing in that deck. Asselp is a 1 power 2 cost, so this is a 2/1. But this, like I said, plays with the locations nicely. Can mess up some of your opponent's cards, whatever they're playing, like Spider Woman and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that could easily find a home there of just being something that really helps you play around locations in a deck like that.
Okay, and moving on to the final card we have today, it's Attuma. He is a 4 energy, 10 power card, and he reads, if you have another card here at the end of your turn, destroy this. Man, I love cheap cards for big stats, honestly. Like, we were just talking about, like, your Typhoid Marys, your Red Skulls, that type of thing. Like, if you just combo this card with armor, if armor's already in the lane, you're just getting a 4/10. And that's absolutely awesome. Also, a card that we previously discussed as well, Null. You can run this in a Null deck, you know what I mean? Just give Null the 10. If you're running, like, Death in the deck as well, that's a nice trigger for that. There's a lot of really, really cool things you can do with this for sure. Any thoughts yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely what you were saying, and also another target for the zero decks. It's not something that works with the other one shutting off the ongoing, but still works with zero just fine. Another 4/10 that you can play. And like I said, you know, armor. I think armor is probably going to be one of the easiest things. Like, I think that this could maybe see replacement for Warpath.
Oh yeah,
in the destroyer decks, or maybe you play alongside, you play both of them, whatever. But yeah, I think that would be very good to do with that, because it's another thing. You can also play this, and then on turn 5 play Professor X.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. Yeah,
Professor X. Yeah, so definitely could see play there or in other decks like that. So definitely an interesting card. And yeah, I'm the same way. I love the 4/10s, and then you playing it with having that strategy, playing this with armor or Professor X, something like that, stops a card that's very popular right now, and I see he's going to be very popular for the near future with these cards, especially with Black Panther and stuff, with Shang-Chi.
Oh yeah,
Shang-Chi is everywhere.
Shang-Chi meta
continue to be everywhere. So yeah,
100%. Actually, interesting. You just mentioned that you could pop this into the zero type of deck. I think there's when this card's included in that deck, especially that we know that Sauron is in the client as well. Like, this could be a really popular deck going forward. Obviously, we do have the Shang-Chi, like you just mentioned, as the counter. But if you play your Sauron to negate all of your bad ongoing effects, then zero can just be a perfect target for this. So say like you could Sauron, you could do whatever on turn 1 or 2. You could Sauron 3, you could like Typhoid 4, Red Skull 5, 6, like 0 Attuma. Now again, that's like the perfect draw, but the potential, the power level of the spread, like you can put 1 in each lane or do whatever you want. It's crazy. So I think that's actually something I wasn't really thinking about, but 100% you can fit that into that type of deck, definitely.
Yeah, and another thing that I haven't thought about, I'm just racking my brain of other stuff that loves big cost cards like this. I mean, maybe even something like Dracula. It's another card that you can discard to get the 10 power. So definitely a unique card that I think, I think a lot of players are going to read that ability and be just immediately turned off.
Yeah.
But very easily a few cards in your deck, and it's going to turn out pretty good. And you were talking about, that being like a crazy draw, like the perfect draw. That's a thing about this game. You see 75% of your deck every game. So that might not happen every game, but it might happen 5 or 6 times out of 10.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, that's all of the cards that we have for today. And they will be coming to Snap pretty soon. Listen, they're already in the client. So who knows, when collector's tokens come out, these could be the cards that may be on your guys' radar. They're definitely, I'm super excited to play some of these cards. Absorbing Man is one of my top favorite cards. Loot, I assume it's Knull. I know you're a big Knull enjoyer.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Knull is definitely at the top of my list, followed very closely behind Absorbing Man. On reveal effects are so cool, so good. They really did a smart job introducing you with Odin in the starter cards, and so ever since then it kind of had my heart. Well,
listen, dude, thank you very much for coming on and discussing these cards. If people are enjoying this, we could definitely talk about there's a lot more elite cards that we haven't discussed. So if you guys want to see that, definitely let us know in the comments below. Thank you very much for joining me, my friend. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Bye.